If you are in the list of people that goes for a checkup and ignore the values of the report, then listen carefully. Those tiny numbers on your paper are actually a secret map of your future health. Most people wait until they feel sick to worry, but your blood work shows warnings this way before that happens. As we are going to talk about specific markers that act like early alarms for your kidneys, understanding these results now can give you a massive advantage. It is all about catching small changes today so you can stay far away from a hospital chair later. The hyperfiltration paradox. Imagine you own a factory with 100 machines. Suddenly, 40 of them break down. You'd think the factory output would drop immediately, right? But it doesn't. Instead, you force the remaining 60 machines to run at triple speed, 24 hours a day, just to keep up. On paper, your production looks perfect, but under the hood, those machines are glowing red hot and melting. This is exactly how your kidneys trick you. It's called hyperfiltration, and it's the reason why so many people walk around with half-functioning kidneys without having a single clue. Your kidneys have this massive built-in reserve capacity. You can literally donate an entire kidney, and your blood work might still look normal the next day. The problem is that when nephrons die off due to age or stress, the healthy ones don't just sit there. They take on the extra load. They work 2 or 3 times harder to compensate for their fallen comrades. This is the trap. Your lab results might show an eGFR of 90, which looks like a straight A grade, even if a huge chunk of your kidney mass is already gone. By the time you actually start feeling sick, like having that weird metallic taste in your mouth, itchy skin known as uremic frost, or swollen ankles, you aren't just starting to have a problem. You're likely already at stage 4. At that point, the overworked filters are already scarred and exhausted. They've been running at 200% for years, and they're finally giving out. You don't feel the drop because you're standing on an invisible cliff, and the ground only disappears once you've already stepped off the edge. eGFR. Most people treat their blood test like a one-time exam. They see a number, see it's in the green zone, and then they forget about it for a year. That is a massive mistake. If you want to stay off a dialysis chair, you have to stop looking at the number and start looking at the slope. Think of your eGFR as a speedometer for how fast your blood is being filtered. A 90 or above is what we call stage 1, basically perfect. Once you dip into that 60 to 89 range, doctors usually call it mildly decreased. The scary part. Most physicians won't even mention it to you if your urine looks clear. They'll just say you're aging. But if you're sliding down that hill, you need to know exactly how fast you're moving. Here is the math that saves lives. After you hit 40, it's pretty normal to lose about 1 point of eGFR every single year. That's just the tax we pay for getting older. But some people are what we call rapid progressors. These are the folks losing 5 points or more every year. If you were at an 85 last year and now you're at a 75, you shouldn't be celebrating just because the lab paper says you're still normal. You just lost 10 years of kidney life in 12 months. That is a red alert. If you don't catch that trend early, you're going to hit the red line faster than you think. That red line is 15. That's the number where doctors start talking about surgery for a dialysis port or putting you on a transplant list. You cannot wait until you hit 15 to care. You need to be looking at your results from 2 or 3 years ago and comparing them to today. If the line is heading down steeply, it doesn't matter if you're currently at 70 or 80. You are in the danger zone. You have to be your own detective here because the snapshot on today's report might be lying to you about where you'll be in 5 years. UACR. If your eGFR is the speedometer, then the UACR is the check engine light on your dashboard. This test stands for urine albumin to creatinine ratio, And frankly, it is the most important number on your lab work that you've probably never heard of. While everyone else is obsessed with their blood work, the real secrets are hiding in your urine. Your kidneys are basically a sophisticated mesh filter. When you have high blood pressure or high blood sugar, it acts like a pressure washer hitting a screen door. Eventually, it punches tiny, microscopic holes in that filter. When those holes appear, a vital protein called albumin starts leaking out of your blood and into your pee. You can't see it. It doesn't change the color of your urine until it's a massive amount. But that leakage is the very first sign of structural damage. Clinical studies are very clear on this. If your UACR is over 30 mg/mL, your risk of ending up on dialysis skyrockets. It doesn't matter if your eGFR is a perfect 100. If you are leaking protein, the engine is already taking damage. Think about it this way. You wouldn't ignore a flickering oil light in your car just because the car is still driving 60 miles per hour, would you? Of course not. You'd fix the leak before the engine seized up. The UACR is that warning. It gives you a massive head start, sometimes 5 to 10 years, before your actual kidney function begins to fail. Most people wait until the eGFR drops to start changing their diet or taking medication. By then, the damage is done. If you catch a rising UACR today, you have the chance to patch the holes and keep your kidneys healthy for the rest of your life. It is the ultimate early alarm system, but it only works if you actually ask your doctor to check it. Cystatin C. Let's talk about why your standard blood test might be lying to your face. For decades, we've relied on something called creatinine to guess how your kidneys are doing. But here's the kicker. Creatinine isn't actually a measurement of kidney health. It's a waste product from your muscles. This creates a massive identity crisis in your lab results. If you're a guy who spends a lot of time at the gym and has a good amount of muscle, your creatinine is going to be high. Your doctor might look at that and tell you that your kidneys are failing, when in reality, you're just fit. On the flip side, if you're a smaller, thinner person or an elderly woman with very little muscle, your creatinine will look perfect, even if your kidneys are struggling to stay alive. It's a rigged game. This is where cystatin C enters the room as the only honest player. Unlike creatinine, cystatin C doesn't care if you lift weights or if you're 80 years old. It is a protein produced by every single cell in your body at a constant, steady rate. Think of it like a GPS tracker that doesn't lose signal. Because it isn't affected by your diet, your age, or how much muscle you have, it provides a crystal clear image of what's actually happening inside those filters. Research shows that cystatin C is about 80% to 90% more sensitive than the standard test when it comes to catching early-stage kidney disease. While the standard eGFR test is still guessing and waiting for creatinine to build up, cystatin C can flag a problem while you're still in the early stages of decline. If you've ever felt like your labs aren't telling the whole story, or if you're stuck in that grey area of kidney health, this is the marker you need to demand. It's the gold standard for a reason. It strips away the excuses and gives you the raw, unvarnished truth. The metabolic duo. If you want to understand how kidneys actually die, you have to stop thinking about disease and start thinking about physics. Your kidneys are packed with miles of tiny, microscopic blood vessels. When your blood sugar is high, measured by your HbA1c, that sugar isn't just floating around, it becomes jagged. Imagine your blood is filled with tiny shards of glass. Every time your heart beats, those glass shards scrape against the walls of those delicate capillaries. If your A1C is sitting over 7.0%, you aren't just diabetic. You are actively scarring your kidneys. This process is called glomerulosclerosis, which is just a fancy way of saying your filters are turning into useless scar tissue. But the sugar is only half the problem. You also have the pressure cooker effect. Your blood pressure is the physical force pushing through those filters. The medical world agrees that 120/80 is the safety limit. Once you start creeping up to 140/90, the physics becomes brutal. The pressure inside the kidney's filtering units becomes so intense that it literally tears the tissue apart. It's like trying to use a delicate silk sifter to filter high-pressure sludge from a fire hose. The combination of high sugar and high pressure is the 1-2 punch that sends people to the dialysis clinic. The sugar shreds the filters and the pressure blows out the holes. This isn't a slow, aging process. It's a violent, mechanical destruction of your internal plumbing. If you can't get these two numbers under control, all the other kidney supplements in the world won't save you because you're fighting a losing battle against the very laws of physics inside your own veins. Electrolytes. When the kidneys start to fail, the body's internal chemistry set begins to bubble over. One of the most terrifying things I see is what happens with phosphorus. In the early stages, specifically stage 3, your kidneys start losing their ability to flush out excess phosphorus. You won't see this on a standard panel until it's quite late, but the damage starts early. When phosphorus levels rise, it acts like a biological thief. It literally reaches into your skeletal system and steals calcium directly out of your bones to try to balance itself out. This leads to something called renal osteodystrophy, where your bones become incredibly brittle and weak, all because your kidneys couldn't manage the minerals in your blood. Then there is the silent killer of the group, potassium. Your kidneys are the main pump that keeps potassium in a very tight, safe range. When that pump fails, potassium builds up. This isn't just a minor issue. High potassium can lead to sudden, fatal heart arrhythmias. Your heart literally loses its electrical rhythm because the mineral balance is off. And if you want to know what this feels like in real life, look at the uremic pruritus. This is a specific kind of itching caused by high phosphorus and toxins. It isn't a skin rash. It's an itch that feels like it's deep under the skin, inside the muscle, and no amount of scratching can reach it. It's a maddening, constant reminder that the body's filtration system has broken down. These aren't just numbers on a page, they are the chemical signals that your body is losing its ability to maintain the very balance of life. The KFRE equation. Stop guessing about your health and start using math. There is a tool out there that nephrologists use called the Kidney Failure Risk Equation, or KFRE, and it is the closest thing we have to a crystal ball. This isn't some vague lifestyle score. It takes 4 specific variables: your age, your sex, your EGFR, and that UACR protein number we talked about. When you plug these into the equation, it doesn't give you a maybe or a we'll see next year. It spits out a hard percentage. It can tell you, with frightening accuracy, you have a 20% or 50% chance of your kidneys failing within the next 2 to 5 years. The power of this equation is that it strips away the denial. Most people live in a state of, it won't happen to me, until they are sitting in a waiting room for their first dialysis session. But when you see a mathematical reality on paper that says you are on a collision course with a machine, it changes how you look at your dinner plate and your medication. It moves the conversation from a boring lab report to a high-stakes survival strategy. If you know your percentage, you can track it. You can see that the number goes down as you make changes. It turns your health journey into a game of numbers where you finally know exactly how much time you have to turn the ship around. Don't just look at your labs. Ask your doctor for your KFRE score. It's the only way to know if you're truly winning the fight. Actionable defense now. Let's talk about the weapons you have in your arsenal to fight back. Because a bad lab report is not a life sentence. First, we have the miracle drugs of the modern era. SGLT2 inhibitors. You've likely heard names like Farxiga or Jardiance. These drugs are total game changers because they address that hyperfiltration we discussed at the start. They essentially take the overtime pressure off those remaining healthy filters, allowing them to rest and survive longer. They are like a release valve for a boiling engine. Beyond medication, you have to get serious about the hidden salt. Aiming for less than 2,300 milligrams of sodium a day, which is just one tiny teaspoon, is the fastest way to drop the internal pressure in your kidneys. And finally, never underestimate the power of simple hydration. Water is the universal solvent. It allows your kidneys to flush out toxins without having to work twice as hard to concentrate your urine. By drinking enough water, you're basically giving your kidneys a helping hand so they don't have to grind through the sludge. These 3 steps, modern medicine, sodium control, and proper hydration, are your primary defense line. Use them to keep that hospital chair exactly where it belongs, far away from your future. Your lab report isn't just paper, it's a direct window into your next decade of life. Most people wait for pain, but by then, the opportunity to choose is gone. Grab your results, check the trends, and take the wheel. Your future self is counting on you to act today, and stop leaving your health to chance. Thanks for watching. Now smash that subscribe button and join our community to master your own medical data.